Alright, so for the next installment we are going to make the Doyle house here, which is existing on the property. So it's just a small little house with some doors and windows, some windows in the back. There's also some windows on the side that I haven't put in. The next thing we're going to do is make this trellis, which exists on the other side. So what you're going to do, I'm going to close this guy down, is open up your file or the file that I provided for you. And just to remind you, if I go to my south elevation, we have a scope box and several levels that we're going to use to create the house with. And basically what's going to happen is the A0 is going to be the base where the walls come all the way down. This is going to be the floor level, and this is going to be the roof and the top plate host. So the first thing we want to do is define how big the building is, and so I'm going to put some grids in to do that. So I'm going to go to the site plan, and I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to place some grids in here that are going to define how big this building is. When you download stuff, it's always a little wonky, and so we're just going to come into architecture and grid, and the left click kind of near the left side here, pull that up. And it gives you a grid, which is actually a plane that's coming at us vertically. I'm going to left click on there, and I'm going to name this D1. And then I'm going to create another grid on the right hand side, D2. Then I'll create some grids that come across for the back wall and the front wall. And you'll notice that you get these blue alignment lines when things line up. It's nice to use those, because when you align them, put that guy out there, that means that when you pick this grid and pull it, all of them will pull together, which is great. Alright, now that I have the grids in, I'm going to pick them by holding down the control key and left clicking, and I'm going to scope box them. So this scope box is the Doyle scope box, so if I go to the pull down, you'll see scope box Doyle, and it'll align themselves to the outside of that grid. Now I don't really need the drawing anymore. So I'm going to go to and start working in my Doyle Plan A1. And so I'm just going to double click on that, and I have the grids available to me, and this view has been scope boxed and has the everything but the topography turned off. So there are the grids that I made. So now I'm going to adjust the grids. So I can select one of the grids, and I'm going to make that 24 feet. And these listing dimensions are going to the reference plane that's in the center. So I put a reference plane for you guys in that center so we can measure off of it. And I'm just going to make these 18 feet. So the whole thing is centered. And maybe make this 6 feet for the porch. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is put some walls in. So I'm going to go to wall, and I'm going to come down and pick the generic, or actually I'm going to pick the exterior brick on CMU, brick on metal stud. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go to edit type and make a new one. So I don't want to use this one, I want to create a new one by going to edit type and duplicate. And I'm going to name this exterior stone, because this building is stone. And I'm going to put this, instead of metal, we're just going to put it on a wood stud, just so we can do that process. I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to edit the structure, which is where the meat of the wall lives. And if I go to edit structure, you can see that it constructs the wall as it would be built in reality. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change the exterior finish from brick, and I'm going to do that by left clicking right here and opening up the material browser, and I want to put stone on that, so I'm just going to go to rubble. Okay, and I'm going to select rubble. If it's not in your project, select it down here and hit the up arrow, and I'm going to go to graphics and use render appearance, so it'll be tan, and click OK. And then I'm going to scroll down to the metal stud layer, and I'm going to put wood studs in there. And I'm going to change the size of those wood studs from 6 inches to 3.5 inches, so it'll be correct. And then I'm going to click OK. Alright, so we have our new wall type, and when I come back we will place that guy in the project.